who pulled up for a catch-up. It's really here from 947 Afternoons. And if you're here, it means you've got taste. Go ahead, enjoy the moment you missed. But don't ghost me. Weekdays, 12 to 3 p.m. on 947. I'm loud and way more fun in real time. And yeah, there's more audio magic waiting for you right here on Prime Media Plus. Wake up with a bang. Hey, wake up!
Anele and the club
On 947.
What's the date today? 10th of October.
That's correct.
That's the normal date, but I think the more special date is the fact that today across the globe it is World Mental Health Day. And when we were chatting about this earlier on in the week, we were just like, the spotlight right now is perhaps a very important part of the people who tune into the radio show every single morning, the children.
Yeah.
Auntie Anele in the club, that's who they've come to know us as, and they call in every day, and the stories are shared, and the laughs are shared, and the highs are shared, and the lows are shared.
And when we run into you, it's so fun to meet all of you, to hear your favorite moments of the show.
It's hugs all around. And that's the thing, because every time we interact with, the kids that we meet and that listen and tune in every single morning, it's only the fun things. It's only the fun times, and we're just hugging each other, that we can easily forget that even you as children go through a tough time. Right? When you're looking at mental health, you must realize that mental health is detected in kids as early as 5 years old. Right?
Yeah.
And this is why we decided that today, going into the exam season, we want to make sure that our little ones are taken care of, they are heard, they are seen, and they are listened to. So this next hour is dedicated to exactly that. And already our flagship person when it comes to this is Cindy, who's got a podcast, Teen Junction, where weekly these are the things that you're discussing around kids and mental health and things that could affect them.
I think we speak about COVID as something that is really huge in the mental health space, because not only did COVID affect this current batch of teenagers because they were stuck at home, but it also raised awareness around mental health. People were stuck at home and they were forced to look inwards and go, hang on a second, I think this is how I'm coping. And it's opened the door to teenagers being able to have conversations around their mental health, being able to identify, and if they are themselves not struggling, they're able to identify it in their peers and say, my friend is struggling, etc., etc. I started the Teen Junction podcast because I wanted parents to have a tool to be able to use so that they can actually, listen to the podcast and get some tidbits from experts. But at the same time, for teenagers, if you're listening, to realize what you're going through
is not isolated.
You're not the only one.
You're not the only one.
And us as adults, we went through it too. We just didn't have cell phones, or we just didn't have, what you guys currently have. But the problems and the way you are feeling is exactly what we went through. You're just lucky that you're able now to identify it, label it, and reach out to somebody professional who can help you.
Speaking of professionals, on World Mental Health Day, we've got Alison Scott, who's the executive principal of Bellavista School. Alison, thank you so much for your time.
Morning.
Oh, you are going to make me cry today, Alison, even before we start speaking. How important is it for, the conversation around mental health to be just something that we have every single day with our children, with our colleagues, with our partners?
I love the question, because I was listening to your rain stories earlier, and can you imagine you're trying to study and you're trying to get ahead of exam season, and the insurance is all over, they're repairing the ceilings. It's stress. We live on this high edge. And it's quite interesting how the very word exam, which is what many young people are facing, students to grade 4, is such a trigger. It's a trigger for parents. So when Cindy says, your parents also, it's true, drop the word exam near a parent, and they're totally stressed out. One thing I think is really important is to embrace emotional well-being and not to dismiss all anxiety, all low mood as a pathological mental illness, but to embrace that is how we are made. It's okay now to be anxious. In fact, you need a little bit of anxiety, right? Just to give you a kick.
It's a push.
And if you're at varsity, you're feeling it, jacarandas are out, right? You're late. You're looking to what can I study to maybe get through the paper. We need to know that anxiety is not all a bad thing. But living in a sense of fear that the next season is going to be such high stakes for me. If I don't manage this, it's over. I've disappointed parents. I'm dropping out. I'm never going to be what I want to be. And I think we have to hold young people very carefully in terms of normalizing emotion and being very honest about the lived experience of finishing a school year. You have no life. That's the truth. You have no life. It's exams. You're going to set a routine, put in your sleep, eat well, stay off the energy drinks, etc. Play is coming. So from mid-November, you're going to have 6
2
to
months.
8 weeks to play. This is an insert. It's not your forever.
So, Alison, I want to ask you a question on behalf of the parents, because Cindy and I are the parents, in the team, and her and I will bounce a lot around, our kids and how they're growing up. I'm the mom who's scared that I would not pick up if my child had a mental health issue.
Yes.
And also because I've got like the sunny disposition, and I'm always the bright side kind of life mom, and I'm always the, everybody must just go take a nap. And I fear that could make me miss some pivotal, signs from my 3 children.
Yes.
So help me.
Yes. Yeah, I believe parents, they know their kids.
Okay.
And we do get a sense, this might be a bit more, a bit less, but we are quick to our strategies. That toxic positivity, it'll be all right in the night, this too will pass. We come at them, and sometimes it's our disposition, but it's also our anxiety to confront what we're looking at. But if your child they're a bit anxious, they're a bit low, they could be distressed, they could be disappointed, and you've got event-specific reason for that. You need to be their ally. Support them. What do they need for support, right? But if you see they're withdrawing, they're more in their room than perhaps a teenager should ordinarily be. They don't want to be with their friends. They're becoming psychosomatic, stomach pains, not well. They're blocking friendships, perhaps, that they maybe had, or they've built a disproportionate fear for anything coming up. That's when you do need to stop and go, that's it.
I like that.
I just wanted to add on to what you said there, Anele. Like you said, it's always sunny and it's always happy. And I think as parents, especially this generation, what I pick up with my friends and parents, fellow parents, is we just want to fix. We don't want our children to ever be sad. They must never be angry. They must never be upset. So we are so reluctant to allow them to have an angry day, to have a sad day. Allow that. They are normal. They are feeling it. They also need to learn that it's okay to have a sad day and come through it and come out of it. It's if they stay in there for a prolonged state, if they're not getting happier after a week or 2, and there's really no real reason, that's when your feelers should go up. But as parents, and especially in the society where we're constantly feeding them happiness and joy and Instagram and TikTok and everything.
And instant gratification.
Even us ourselves as adults, we have to realize not every day is a happy day, guys. And you can have just a normal average day. You're not happy. You're not sad. My teenagers always say to me, I always go, how are you? Like it's not that deep. Like I'm just quiet today because I'm tired. It's not deep.
Yeah.
But it's important to have the conversation and to build the connection so that when they are feeling deep, they can come to you and say, today is not, this
You've
week's
seen
not.
it, you've named it,
Yes.
you're present.
Yeah.
So for parents to be present and see it and ask, they'll tell you. But make sure you have that relationship. They will come and talk to you.
084-00000947. We're taking your voice notes. Going into exam season, and like Alison just said, as soon as we say exams, everyone's like, I want to know from parents and kids, what are the coping mechanisms that you've placed and put into your household that you find work? That you could see there was a bit of an issue happening. You could see there was a bit of a struggle. And when you started doing this thing, or you started going to this place, or started doing less of something, I think let's just share and share alike. Because the thing around mental illness and it's not even mental illness. I want to call it mental awareness.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's not an illness.
Correct.
You being aware of how you're feeling is the first start to the strength, right?
Absolutely.
Around it.
Absolutely.
I want to know what is your mental awareness, and what have you placed in your household? Because there has to be some sort of conversation that is happening, right?
Correct.
Other conversation happening. Is it like once on a Sunday where you check in with everyone?
Yeah. And if we just mentioned for the kids, it's normal, right? For parents, it's normal. Same story, right? So I think if you're currently dealing with a situation and you're struggling to understand what's happening with your child, or you have a specific thing that you want to chat about, let's share. Like, that's the point, right?
011-8838-947 as well. Alison is here for any questions that you may have. Also, parents, you like to judge yourselves. You think you're doing this terrible job and everybody else is being a better mom and a better dad than you. But I think Alison and Cindy, they're really equipped to just kind of guide you through it. So any questions that you may even have about yourself and your behavior around the parenting, we're all here to just give you a big osa. It's okay, Mom.
It's okay.
It's okay, Dad. The fact that you're waking up every day to parent means that you're halfway there to doing a brilliant job. Call us, text us, WhatsApp us, any which way. This is your hour. We want to put a bit of a spotlight on the children as we're going into exam season. Thank you so much to Alison Scott, who's the executive principal at Bellavista School. Off air, Alison, and this is what happens. I love the conversations that happen off air because, then I'm like, keep quiet, Alison. Don't say anything else. I want you to speak to this. Motivate by fear.
Yes.
Is that something that a lot of our kids are dealing with right now?
Exceptionally high levels of being motivated by fear. We're using fear as a tool to get children motivated, not a love of learning, not a dream, not a passion. And it is probably the single most powerful way to decimate grit, decimate resilience, is that if I don't, because this terrible consequence is coming for me, there's no point. And there's where I think you hit this high levels of anxiety. Children are being medicated for the environment. And it's because we drive fear. Some of the fear is real. A child might be the first child who's going to go to university. There's a real high stakes for it, yes. Yeah. But otherwise, you're going to fail if you don't. You will never be the vet you want to be. You're going to never make that top list for actuarial science. They're not going to accept you wherever else at the high school you want to go to. So we bring this, you better because, and we make them scared. And if you think about grit being slightly different from resilience, resilience is a bit more about bounce back. I failed, I got up again. Grit is a very long-term thing, and we have this beautiful period of 13 years, school-going child perhaps, to build it, to build stamina, to help them deal with a plateau. No, I didn't improve my marks this term.
And that's okay.
I actually am generally a 60%er for English.
And it's fine.
It's okay. I don't need another 5 this month and another 10%, as they are goal setting. So we set these unrealistic goals that send a message of I'm not enough to kids, a perpetual I'm not enough. So the grit is stamina, it's problem solving. Grit involves courage, courage to show up. It's a bad day, but I'm here, I'm writing the exam. Grit is about deliberate practice. You've got to work at it all the time, over and over and over again. So your maths, your science, revision is a thing. It is a year-long thing. But you're not going to
It's not an event.
No,
this is
not
thing.
an event, and we peak this crescendo in children's lives twice a year, and we bring perhaps our fear or our own motivations for their performance, and they come and they've got to please, they've got to deliver, and when you can't, and when I say when you can't, you might be a 60, 70 percentile average on your own, but when you can't deliver, you might as well give up.
And you know what's so funny? We identify it in parents who are like that with sport. We're like, oh, that dad pushes that kid too much. Because we're there, we can see it. But when it comes to everything else, right? We're not at home. We're not there to see, these walls of expectation these kids that are growing up in. Quickly, Cindy, before you jet on over to our sister station 702, your podcast this week has touched the very inner core of my heart. Run me through it. We'll play a little clip from it as well. And then on the way, Alison, I want you to speak to how do we build resistance in kids? This is why I want you to stay listening. Alison's going to run us through that. Principal of Bellavista School. How do you build resistance in kids?
So this week's episode on the Teen Junction podcast focuses on teen suicide, and in particular the story of Matthew Ernston, a Cares boy who last year, August, took his own life. And his mother, Ashley, reached out to me and she said, please can I come on the podcast, because she has started an organization called Matthew and Me. Because what she realized was when her son was diagnosed with depression, she wasn't brought into the conversation of how serious it was. She wasn't given the tools of how she could help him. She never knew about SADAG. She never knew, when she just took the psychologist and the psychiatrist's word for it, that this amount of medication is fine for him, etc., etc. She speaks about the warning signs, that there possibly weren't any in hindsight. Hindsight's an amazing thing, right? You can go back and say, on the day that he died, he gave his Saint Christopher to his brother. It's little things like that, she said, that now add up. But she doesn't want any more lives to be lost, and she doesn't want any parents to be lost in this journey. So she has started Matthew and me to help those around her. And she said, one life lost is too many.
So in the podcast, you guys discussed red flags, right?
She spoke about red flags.
Were there red flags?
So that's an interesting one, because I don't think there are often warning signs per se for suicide, but I think there are red flags. And because of our lack of knowledge and even guidance and support from professionals, we weren't made aware of those signs. So had we had the knowledge, we might have been able to pick up on those signs. I'm aware of those signs now.
10th of October, International World Mental Awareness Day. It's not a Joburg thing.
No.
It's not a South African thing. It is a global thing. And I'm stressing that because I want you to know that if there is a struggle that you are currently having, be it a long-term one, or just today, or just this week, or the past month, you're not alone.
No, it's okay.
None of us wake up and we're fine like this all the time, right?
Yeah.
What we're trying to highlight today is the moment you recognize that and you can call it, there's a saying, call a thing a thing. As soon as you can call a thing, then we all can be like, okay, this is what is going on. My darling, you're not the first or the last person that this is going to happen to. And this is why we're so fortunate to chat to Alison Scott, Executive Principal of Bellavista School. Alison, before we went into news headlines, I asked you this. As parents, how do we build resistance in our kids? Because there's a thing lately we're doing where we want to take away all our kids' problems. As soon as they've got a little hurdle, mom, dad runs around the hurdle and flips it over so little Johnny and little Alaki can just walk right through life's problems.
And unrealistically, we're bringing ourselves a lot of stress and the children with that. When we want to build resilience, it is a long-term marathon. It's not immediate. You don't teach it. You provide environments that cultivate it, allow for it, without bringing children decimating trauma and hardship. We're just talking about everyday life. You might not make it to the A team and your child's disappointed. Yes, they're really disappointed. Let them be disappointed, but be with them. Be present. Life brings disappointments. And you know what? Tomorrow it'll be better. We're going to try harder for next season. What do we need to work with and on?
Yeah.
So provide the child with hope more than wanting
Despair.
to do away with that whole spectrum of possible negative emotion.
Yeah.
The other thing we need to be mindful from, and it's a research thing, it's to do with growth mindset. There is an absolute correlation, or there's no correlation between praise, awards, certificates, and positive self-esteem. In fact, it's the other way around. So when we
Wait, hang on, lady. You don't drop a bomb like that and carry on moving like you said nothing. Hang on, hold up. Say that again. There is no correlation between praise.
Let me qualify praise.
Yeah.
Praise that is not totally earned. So everybody gets a prize. You're the best in the world. You're going to be famous. You're a high student. Here's another badge. Here's another blazer. Your high performers are wondering, how am I going to keep that up? And 80 is not good enough. 90% is not good. That kind of thing happens.
So there's no correlation
your
between
younger
praise
ones
and positive self-esteem.
don't get a grip on their own strengths and relative weaknesses. We should be amplifying strengths, minimizing difficulties. And I'm from an environment where we deal with learning difficulties. These children develop an enormous amount of resilience, and they do superbly in life because of that. So it's in our language. It's not about trying to find prizes for your children. It's not an award every Friday because you were good this week. He might have been a total menace the whole week, and you don't have to punish him either. You know, and I'm trusting parents are listening with a scale of what menace could be. Okay, but this desperate need to afford them all these
Things.
these praise things are actually doing a bit more harm than good. What a child needs, what any adult person, human being needs for self-esteem, is an authentic recognition of when I had to struggle through something like learning is. It's always a bit of a challenge, and I nailed it. And I've got it. It's mine. You gave me the right word at the right time. You said, well done. I spotted that. You did it.
Okay, Innocentia's in Pretoria. Good morning, Innocentia. Very quickly, you said yesterday your daughter pranked you and you went off at her, right?
Yes, correct. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Innocentia. Thank you for your call. So run us through it. Principal Alison is all ears.
Yes. Just quickly, it's that prank that's going around where they will Photoshop somebody standing in front of the door. And I know she's alone at home, and my panic, you can imagine. And I was at work, so I lost it, literally, crying now, thinking of my own trauma that happened to me because I myself suffer from depression, and I'm currently going through getting help, through the right channels, taking medication. So with how I went off at her yesterday, I realized, yes, I might have been harsh, but then I don't know how to actually sit her down then today, Either do I tell her about, the trauma that I went through or not, so that she can understand, mommy also has, problems like this. And if you do things like this, it will literally, throw me off the roof. My anxiety goes on 100, and I can't even cope. I can't even concentrate. So you can imagine I still need to drive back home. And then it was raining. So my mind was just, all over. Yeah.
The first question I want to ask before we all have this is how old is your daughter?
She's 14.
Because, Alison, I'm hearing this and I'm thinking, do our kids get to an age where they're old enough to understand our traumas, and when do we bring them into our confidence around the things that happen to us that inform so much of who we are?
So first, just to support the mum, you're a human being. That was very triggering for you with good reason. This is a beautiful opportunity to teach your daughter, to help her learn in a resilience framework, right? We are human, we have traumas, things happen to us. We're going to react and respond. I believe if you sat with her and talked about and named the emotions that she felt and the emotions that you felt, you can tell her, it triggered in me to be so protective, to come and to look after you as a matter of urgency. I worried so much that this was real and not true, and I'm your mum, that you were under threat in any way, put me into complete panic. And panic is not rational. Tell your daughter that she may panic one day. She may be angry one day.
Yeah.
Use it as a learning opportunity. And I think with a 14-year-old, you can talk a lot about the emotions. I would be cautious not to re-traumatize or secondary traumatize her with your experience, your exact experience yet. She's young for that.
I think, in Essentia, there's also a conversation because I've seen this prank going around, and Cindy and I actually were looking at a whole bunch of them. But there's also a conversation to be had that what we see online on social media, because this is the thing that's been running on social media, and mostly comes from America, right? That in our situation is very different. These are the American kids. It's fun, and dads and moms are laughing at this, but they don't have
because it's safe over there.
It's safe.
They don't have the crime stats that we have.
They don't have the fear for safety that we have.
They don't have the anxiety that we have.
They may feel differently if the prank included a shooter at the school.
Exactly, because that's what they experience every day.
And in our world, we experience that kind of threat in our homes, unfortunately. So even culturally, it's coming with a totally different loaded meeting. And I would encourage any parent whose child's getting involved in this just to have a conversation about how you can bring other people unnecessary distress. You never know the shoes others have walked in. You think it's funny? Not so funny for all.
Yeah.
In a sense, but I think the one thing Alison said here, and that's very important for you to be the one thing you take and then execute everything else, is she validated you as a parent, as a mom, as a protector, as a provider, right?
Yes.
Please understand that you can't bash yourself too much, because that's the constant state that you can't take a day off being a parent ever in your life. So please pat yourself on the back around that. Take a deep breath and be like, I am a mom. I'm executing from a point of wanting to do the best for my child.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my angel, we're sending you absolute hugs, ne?
Thank you.
Okay. Tell that daughter of yours to behave, and tell her we love her as well.
I will.
Say, Auntie Alila says behave, but please, we love you. Okay, I'm gonna play the voice note, Alison, and then we're gonna take a quick break. And when we come back, you're gonna listen to a few voice notes. And I just want you're so calming.
So calming.
I just want you to stay here forever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so we're just gonna play the voice notes. There's lots of them coming in. Obviously, parents are just feeling so seen today and so validated. And I think our in the main, our job is to strengthen the strength of the kids, and then they will then make sure that it goes on to the children, right? So here is the voice note, and I'm going to give you a moment to think about it.
Even though I'd like to believe that I'm a present mom, I'm a modern mom, I'm very friendly with my kids, and I believe that whenever they have problems, they're able to come to me. So I'm very open-minded. But wow, am I struggling with the term gentle parenting? What does that really mean?
Okay, find out after these.
Even though I'd like to believe that I'm a present mom, I'm a modern mom, I'm very friendly with my kids, and I believe that whenever they have problems, they're able to come to me. So I'm very open-minded. But wow, am I struggling with the term gentle parenting? What does that really mean?
Reason to struggle. I think I heard the word, and I also wondered about the sensitivity of the topic. I'll frame it to say, I think the gentle parenting movement comes with a real heart and a commitment, perhaps to preserve children from things that may have happened in that parent's own life. They're seeking to make childhood feel a little safer, for children to feel more empowered and heard. Perhaps I'll start by saying I would be a huge opponent of harsh parenting. So gentle being the opposite. We can be too hard as parents and absent and hard. Children are growing, developing individuals. Their brains have certain capacities to process emotion, to process judgment, to process regulation, to understand their world, to understand how others feel. It's a long process, 16 or 18 years in fact. No one can really navigate that process without boundaries. You need boundaries. And the person in their lives who set the biggest boundaries are actually the parents. They need to know the guardrails. This is where we are. Yes, I agree in gentle parenting. Mediate what just happened there. Did you see that? That can't happen again, perhaps. But if they've crossed a line, they need a consequence. And we're not talking corporate punishment. They need neither to know that while you're not talking to them now because they crossed the boundary. But they do need a consequence. And they need to know what consequences will be in your home before the event happens. So in our home, none of us sulk. If you sulk, we're going to have to stay together the whole weekend and not go out with others, because sulking in front of others would really not be very sociable. So there's a consequence, not a punishment. But they need to know these things are right, and morally these things are wrong. And to keep order and safety in our home, there are rules and there are boundaries. The gentle parent struggles with school teachers. They struggle because teachers bring boundaries and rules. That's the magic of a teacher. She can manage 30 of the one you battling with at home. And it looks like a certain kind of magic. It's the rules of the school. They're boundaries. They should be reasonable. We should be mediating with children for understanding the rule. This is not because I said so. You often want to say it. As a principal, sometimes I do. You want to mediate why we have this rule, And then you need, without fail, to uphold the rule. If you've predetermined a reward or a consequence for your rule, deliver. You cannot
flake on that.
Yeah. So we don't want flexible parenting. We don't want permissive parenting. We don't want children to run the show. They can't. You're giving them stress. You're going to have an anxious teenager.
Okay, so what's going to happen now, because we've really run out of time.
We have.
I'm going to play these 2 voice notes. And then, Alison, if you don't mind, our digital team is going to take you into the other studio. And then you're going to answer them to like our phone camera. And then we'll upload that onto our social media pages. And I think it's nice because then people can just go back to it as much as they want.
That's cool.
So we'll podcast this entire hour, and then the extra 10 to 15 minutes that Alison is going to do in the next studio answering. And the reason I want to play these voice notes out loud is because what I like about voice notes and callers is that people highlight something that you're going through, but you were too scared to call in and ask.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, that's me. So to everybody that feels like this is me in these next 2 voice notes, the answers are going to be on our digital pages as early as 9 o'clock.
Good morning, team. I love this chat. My wife and I were recently having a conversation about the hard versus soft parenting. And another thing that we noticed is that when we change our daughter's school, I mean, she spends most of her time at school and she'd be all aggro and anxious. And when you change the school, all of that changed.
Morning, Anele and the team. How's it going? I really dig this show. I've started listening recently. It's just so awesome. Thank you so much for shedding light on the struggle that the world is facing. And I'm grateful to be alive. I've been in a coma. I've been through the worst. So things look hard, but it's always going to get better, and just keep going.
And on that note, Alison, you'll jump into the next studio. But on air, I want to say in front of the entire city, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
This has been the most calming hour we have had. 8 years of doing the show. 8 years, you know, we high energy, we lots of fun, we light, we sunny, but this has been the most heartfelt hour that we've ever had, and that's all because of you. So thank you for your time. And the kids at Bellavista School are so blessed.
Very lucky.
I might just enroll for grade 8 again.
Well, I need to do matric again. So
please.
I should go back.
Don't deny application immediately. Just consider it. Thank you. Alison Scott, Executive Principal at Bellavista School.
Say goodbye now. Back to making your morning.
Anele and the Club.
I love this show. On 947.